You probably have some pennies lying around your house, maybe even from 1985. But what if I told you that one of those pennies could be worth hundreds, even thousands of dollars? Maybe you've tossed a few of them into a jar, never giving them a second thought. Well, it's time to think again, because the 1985 US penny is hiding secrets you won't believe. It's a coin that might look like any other, but what if I told you that there's a chance you could be holding a hidden treasure worth hundreds of thousands, or even millions? Stay tuned, because today, we're uncovering the incredible story of the 1985 US penny and the rare minting errors that make it one of the most sought-after coins among collectors. Now, when you think about pennies, you probably don't imagine them as valuable pieces of currency. After all, the penny's worth just 1 cent, and it's been a part of US circulation for over 100 years. But the 1985 penny is a different story. It's not just another copper-plated zinc coin. It's a piece of history, a potential gold mine for coin collectors. We're going to dive into the fascinating world of rare minting errors, learn how the 1985 penny could be hiding a fortune, and explore why this humble coin is suddenly in the spotlight. The 1985 US penny was produced during a time of economic transformation in the United States. It was the mid-1980s, a period marked by the presidency of Ronald Reagan, an era of economic recovery after the early '80s recession. The country was seeing inflation rates stabilize, unemployment dropping, and the stock market beginning to boom. On the global stage, tensions of the Cold War were still present, but there was a sense of optimism in the air. The penny, however, wasn't immune to the changes happening around in 1982. A major shift occurred in U.S. coinage. The penny, traditionally made of 95% copper, was retooled to use 97.5% zinc, with just a thin copper coating. This change was driven by the rising cost of copper, which had made the production of pennies too expensive. By 1985, this shift in material had fully taken hold, meaning that the 1985 penny is made of zinc, with that familiar copper plating. This shift made the 1985 penny different from earlier ones, and this small change would eventually make the coin more significant than most would have imagined. The design of the 1985 penny was relatively standard compared to other years. Abraham Lincoln's portrait graced the obverse, while the reverse featured the iconic Lincoln Memorial. The image of the memorial, designed by Frank Gasparo, had been in circulation since 1959, and while the design was familiar, it had been slightly adjusted over the years. The 1985 penny, like its counterparts, was part of everyday commerce. Yet, while most of these pennies ended up in the hands of everyday Americans, a small percentage were minted with errors that would end up in the hands of lucky collectors. Now, let's talk about the most common 1985 pennies you'll come across. Most of them are just like the ones you've seen in your spare change. Copper-plated zinc coins worth just 1 cent. They're part of the vast number of pennies produced at the Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco mints. In 1985, the Philadelphia Mint produced over 4 billion pennies, while Denver produced over 6 billion. But what's truly fascinating about these mintage numbers is the fact that many of these pennies have been lost, forgotten, or tucked away in coin jars. Some of them, however, may have an error that makes them worth much more than their face value. You see, error coins are a fascinating part of the coin collecting world. These mistakes happen when something goes wrong during the minting process, and the result is a coin that's different from the intended design. Sometimes these errors can be subtle, a small misalignment or a tiny doubling of a letter. Other times, these mistakes can make a coin dramatically different, and that's when things get really interesting. One of the most intriguing errors found on the 1985 penny is the off-center strike. This happens when a penny is misaligned in the press, causing the design to shift to one side. When this happens, part of the coin's design, including Lincoln's portrait or the memorial, may be missing or partially cut off. But it's not just a random error. The degree to which the coin is off-center plays a huge role in its value. The more off-center the coin is, the rarer it becomes, and as a result, the more valuable it can be. In some cases, a 1985 penny with a strong off-center strike can sell for hundreds, even thousands of dollars. Another fascinating error is the double die variety. This happens when the die used to stamp the design onto the coin is misaligned or has some sort of damage, resulting in the design being stamped twice. For the 1985 penny, this means you could find an example where Lincoln's portrait appears to be doubled or the text, e pluribus unum, is duplicated. Double die errors are some of the most highly sought-after coins in the world, and a 1985 penny with this kind of error could easily fetch thousands of dollars. In fact, the most valuable double die 1985 pennies can be worth more than $5,000, depending on their condition and the degree of doubling. But there's one more error that makes the 1985 penny even more exciting for collectors: the clipped planchet. This error occurs when the metal strip fed into the coining press is miscut, resulting in a piece of the planchet being missing. When this happens, the coin ends up with a chunk missing from the edge, giving it a distinct, irregular shape. While clipped planchets are relatively rare, they are highly prized by collectors, and a 1985 penny with this error can be worth several $1,000s at auction. The rarity of these errors only increases their desirability, making the 1985 penny a true hidden gem in the world of numismatics. But that's not all. You might think that these off-center strikes, double die errors, and clipped planchets are the most valuable 1985 pennies out there, but there's one rare error that could make a 1985 penny worth even more. This error is so rare, so extraordinary, that only a handful of collectors have ever seen it in person. The discovery of one of these coins could change your life, turning a simple penny into a fortune. Could it be that you're holding one of these ultra-rare 1985 pennies right now? Keep watching, because in just a moment, we'll reveal the ultimate 1985 penny error that's worth thousands of dollars. Before we get to that ultimate discovery, let's take a moment to talk about the real-world value of these error coins. The most valuable 1985 penny errors have sold for over $5,000 at auction, with some fetching even more. These high-value coins are rare, but they do exist. Collectors are on the lookout for pennies with unique errors, and the 1985 penny is at the top of the list. It's a coin that holds great potential for anyone who knows what to look for. But what if you could find a 1985 penny with multiple errors? Imagine discovering a penny with both a double die and an off-center strike. Or how about a penny with a clipped planchet and a die crack? These combinations of errors are extremely rare and could skyrocket the value of your coin. If you happen to find one of these incredibly rare combinations, you could be sitting on a fortune.so. How do you find these hidden treasures in your own collection? The key is to inspect your coins carefully. Look for any signs of misalignment or doubling. Pay attention to the edges of the coin for signs of clipping, and always check for any unusual marks or cracks. You don't need to be a professional numismatist to spot these errors, but it helps to have a good magnifying glass and proper lighting. The more you inspect your pennies, the better your chances of finding something valuable. But here's a pro tip. If you think you found a rare 1985 penny, consider having it professionally graded. A certified coin grader will evaluate the condition of your penny, authenticate its errors, and assign it a grade based on its quality. This can significantly increase its value. So if you think you have something special, don't hesitate to get it professionally graded. Now, let's talk about the growing popularity of coin collecting, especially among younger generations. Coin collecting has been around for centuries, but in recent years it's seen a resurgence in popularity. With online marketplaces and social media platforms, collectors can now easily connect and share their finds with others. The 1985 penny, with its rare errors and increasing value, has become a hot item in the world of coin collecting. More and more people are discovering the thrill of finding rare coins, and the 1985 penny is quickly becoming one of the most sought-after coins in the market. So, what's next for the 1985 penny? As the years go on, error coins like the 1985 penny will only become rarer. As collectors continue to hoard these coins, their value will only continue to rise. What was once thought of as a penny with little worth is now seen as a valuable piece of history. The potential for the 1985 penny to skyrocket in value is high, and collectors are eager to get their hands on one of these rare finds. And who knows? The 1985 penny you've had in your possession for years could be worth far more than you ever imagined. So, the next time you go through your change jar or dig through your pocket change, keep an eye out for that 1985 penny. It could just be hiding a fortune.so. There you have it. The 1985 US penny is more than just pocket change. It's a coin that could be hiding valuable errors worth big bucks. If you have any 1985 pennies lying around, it's time to take a closer look. Who knows, you might just find the next hidden treasure. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon.